Hi. Hello, hello, hello. So this is the first time I've done a live on YouTube. So we'll see how it goes. Usually I'm on my Facebook Live, but Facebook wasn't working this morning, so I thought I'd give this a try. I'm Gaia Morrissette, your holistic sexual wellness specialist. I make sex safe, I make it better, and I help you take it to the next level. And I do this through speaking, training, and coaching. And welcome, welcome, welcome to Trauma Recovery Tuesdays, which is where I go and explore all the ways in which we can move from a place of trauma to a place of thriving, not just surviving. And this one is a really important, like I do, a live 6 times a week around different aspects of human sexuality and different ways in which I move in the world. And this one's a special one for my heart because it really, 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 really connects me to I also experienced severe sexual abuse as a child, as well as satanic ritual abuse. And so I show up on Tuesday mornings for you guys because I want to share with you my journey, my insights, how I help clients, how I moved from just surviving to thriving. And so this is a very, very close to my heart. A couple different things. One, I will put the description in the end of the video, and in the comments on how you can connect. But I do this every Tuesday morning. And also, if you want to be a part of all the replays and all in one spot, you can join our list. And this way, you'll only get content that's related to trauma and healing and happiness. Okay, so let's get into our topic. First of all, let's take a deep breath in. Whew. So I want to share with you um, my story. We're going to start with my story. And very few people have ever really heard my story. So I grew up believing that I had a great childhood. And I had no idea that I was sexually abused, or I had no memories of the satanic cult ritual abuse until I was 17, actually. And however, I had no actual cognitive conscious memories of anything happening to me, but I remember being so sad and so scared. And as a teenager, early teenager, before I got my memories, I remember feeling incredibly suicidal. I remember hating my life, not wanting to be in it, and having no idea why I felt that way. I mean, yes, I grew up in a dysfunctional household, but who didn't grow up in some kind of form of dysfunction, right? So, I couldn't quite get or understand why I felt the way that I did. And one day I had memories started to come back to the surface. And um, at that time, I was living in a situation, and I don't want to out people. So I'm not going to say who and how and that kind of stuff. But I was at a store, and all of a sudden, these memories, these flashes started to come back to me in the middle of the store, and it was about somebody that I never thought I was super close with, and I never, ever, ever thought that that would be a possibility, of them violating that trust and that relationship. And that memory started flooding back, and then then I started my process of really processing deep into my healing journey of reclaiming my life. And it was horrific. And for the first year of the first series of memories surfacing, coming to the surface, I was a mess. I cried all the time. I threw up all the time. I couldn't leave my house without my puke bowl, as I used to call it, because it just was really, really hard to handle. And I wasn't handling life very well. And so this happened when I was 17, and then I started my journey, to healing. Now, since then, I have had many new memories come up throughout my healing journey. I actually just had one a couple days ago, a new series of memories that came up to the surface that I had to process and deal and handle. And so I wanted to share that with you because that, some people remember those traumatic experiences the whole time, like their whole life. And there's a lot of people who don't remember those experiences. And why does the brain do that? Well, the brain does that for a couple different reasons. The first one is the brain says, you holding on to this information is you're not going to be able to deal or handle or be okay. You're not going to survive if you know this information. And so what it does is it compartmentalizes. It takes that memory, it compartmentalizes it. It can be compartmentalized into a whole bunch of different compartments so that they're little pieces that are compartmentalized in your noggin. That's basically walled behind in the subconscious mind, that you have no access to those memories unless something triggers it, or an event triggers it, or you have now some new skill sets that you will be able to deal with it. This is the only way that this starts to happen. Let's see. So that's one of the reasons why. So that's what the brain does, and it's a complete self survival mechanism that is amazing that our brain has the capacity to do so. Um, and another reason why the brain will help you forget is because, again, it's part of that. You're not going to survive it, but it's just too traumatic. You just can't, you won't be able to function. You will have a nervous breakdown. You just will not survive. You cannot survive it. And that's why a lot of really traumatic experiences, often people forget those experiences because you couldn't comprehend it. You couldn't, understand how or interpret it. And what triggers those memories to come up to the surface? Well, a couple different things. If one, you start to have the skills and the tools. So why did mine trigger? Well, I had been in therapy for a while about a bunch of other stuff, and I got some new skill sets. And so obviously my brain was like, you can handle this, which is true because I'm still alive and thriving and all those kind of things. And so every time when there's some other things that are still buried, and when gain the skill sets, the tools, my mind can handle it, that new information comes to the surface for my conscious mind to be aware of it. I never go digging, and I don't recommend you go digging either. Um, Trust that your brain knows what's best for you, and allow it to unfold the way that it needs to unfold. I know the first instinct is to just rip off the band-aid, and just you're already in the gong show of hell that is the beginning stages of healing, and you really just want to get it done and get it over with. The problem is that I've seen a lot of people try that process or go in deep and try to recover the memories, and what happens is that the psyche breaks, the brain breaks. You can't handle it. You end up in the hospital in a nervous breakdown, or people end up suicidal. So I highly recommend, not just as a professional, as a holistic sexual wellness specialist that works and specializes in trauma recovery, but also as a personal experience. Don't go around digging. Let it happen, however it's going to happen. The other key part is that when these new memories come to the surface for you, the first thing is you're going to deny them. Is that this is crazy? This never happened. This I must be making it up. There's all these things that are going to happen in doubting those experiences, because who wants to believe that somebody we care about or we loved or something as awful as whatever that memory is happened to us? So our first instinct is to deny it. Um, don't deny it, just honor it. If you don't deny it, it won't be as bad, trust me. If you just accept it and honor it, you'll be able to move through the process as much easier. Than the more you deny it, the louder those memories are going to get, to the point of being able to physically, you might have a body memory where now you're feeling the sensations. You might be actually pulled into the memory, so that you are, which is a triggered state, and you might be brought all the way into that memory, and you're in it, feeling it at whatever age that happened or whatever time that happened. So I highly recommend, when the brain says you're ready and they come up, trust the process. The next thing is that if you don't have support, professional support, you I highly recommend you getting it, because it's really hard to deal with what you're going through, by yourself, number one. Number two, to make sense of it. Number three, the people around you may not have the tools or the skills, and it's not their responsibility. That's a really important thing, is that you don't make your partners, your friends responsible for your emotional well being. You're responsible for your emotional well being. Your friends and your partner can be there to be supportive and your cheerleader and hold space for you, but it's really important that you get professional support. That's like a therapist, a psychologist, a coach, somebody like me who specializes in sexual trauma recovery, um, counselor, somebody. Start talking to somebody. Um, it's also really important that the professional that you start to talk to really knows what they're doing. I would ask them questions like, what is their experience with repressed memories? Because uh, healing from sexual trauma, when you have the memories, is different than when you haven't always remembered, and you're getting new memories coming up. And that's a very different world of how to handle, acknowledge, and deal with and process. So please ask them if they have any experience with dealing with repressed memories. And that you don't want them to dig around in those repressed memories, but allow the memories to be where they're at, because there's this thing called false memory syndrome, which can happen when some professional is starting to ask probing questions and digging into those memories. And if you ever decide that you want to go to the route of legal route, of filing charges against the offender, it's really important that there's no room for that to be an excuse for the person to get off. So if you're planning on doing that, it's really careful. Be really, really careful on who you work with and what their area of expertise is. Okay. Next, it's kind of important to tell your people around you what's going on with you. To say, okay, I just got some new memories. I just got some memories. I didn't know that they existed, and I'm trying to process this. So I'm going to be I'm having a hard time, and I'm a little unstable at the moment. Emotionally. Letting the people who know around you that you got something going on is a really important way of breaking the silence, but also preventing you from being isolated and alone in the process. The next thing is if you can, take a leave of absence for at least a month or two, so that you can sit and deal and take care of yourself, if you can, from work. Whether that's a short-term disability, whatever it is that you need to do to take care of you, it's important. Trying to function as everything is okay, hunky dory, is not helpful for you. And the more you space you give yourself to acknowledge what's happening, and the more the work you do, the quicker you can get back into figuring how to live your normal, how to integrate your regular life into this new paradigm and this new reality shift for you. Um, if you have children, and this can be really hard because you have kids and you're going through a whole bunch of stuff, um, having some other people, if you have those people in your life, giving you reprieve and support through this process by kind of stepping up and taking care of the kids for you, will be really helpful. And it's okay to tell your kids that, I'm just, I had some bad things happen when I was young, and I'm just trying to fix them and heal them. Be honest with them. You don't have to give them details because details are not important. But telling them why you're feeling and why you're behaving the way you are is so beneficial, so that they don't internalize it and think it's about them. And that they also will learn that it's okay to have feelings, it's okay to have emotions, it's okay when you go and you work on them and you heal them, and it's okay. Right. So that's important. Um, and let's see. So those are the big things. So I lovingly invite you to give yourself permission that it's okay to be wherever you're at, to take the time off, to tell the people in your life what's going on so that they can support you in whatever capacity that they're capable of, to get professional support to help you work through and process what's going on with you. Um, and I can honestly say that while you're in it, you may not think you're going to survive it. And that's okay. It's harsh, it's hard, but your brain would not have given you that information yet if you weren't capable of handling it. So you are. It may not feel like you have those abilities, but trust me, you have those skills. Otherwise, you wouldn't have remembered again. And I'm here. I'm totally here. You can reach me at succulentliving.com so that I can support you through this process. If you're like, okay, Gaia, I'm going through hell and I need some backup. I can be your backup, and I know how to help you through it. Okay. All right. Be brave. You're courageous. You're amazing. I love you. Have a beautiful day. Please share this with your tribe if there's anybody that you know in their lives that have trauma, or share it with the people who might have other people around them that have trauma coming out, and how to handle that. Bye bye.